Greetings from Tokyo. This is Daisuke Beppu, and I hope you are all doing well. I am, let's see, what is it now? It's now November 18th. Is that right? November 18th, 2018. So it's a Sunday. And I am just finishing up, well, I just finished watching this with my kids, which is the film Destroy All Monsters, the Godzilla film. So this is a really exciting kaiju monster film, just filled to the brim with action and wonderful battles. It's such a fun film, and I really love Godzilla films. One of these days I'd love to talk about them, but and also I know that Godzilla films have been rumored to one day appear in the Criterion collection. I hope that means physical media form. In what form that would take, I'm not sure. And again, it's just rumor. But hopefully one of these days, the kaiju films, and in particular the Godzilla films, and as many as possible, but at the very least the Showa era films can reach the Criterion collection one day in physical media form to join the first film, Godzilla, 1954 film. And I think that would be a wonderful, there we go, I think that would be a wonderful thing to do, because I know Godzilla 1954, as great as it is, it's still, I'm sure, feeling very lonely, and I know it will probably want its brethren to join it in the Criterion collection. So yes, so this is just something I saw with my kids, and they really got a big kick out of it, so I was very happy to share this with them. Incidentally, my favorite Showa era Godzilla film, in case you are interested, is actually Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. This is one of the great films, and so I would recommend it if you can get it. This happens to be a Japanese Blu-ray, as was this Destroy All Monsters Blu-ray. I do also have another favorite. I have a bunch of favorites in the Godzilla series, but maybe I'll save that for another day. Anyway, yes. And I am just still on cloud nine, based off of the recent news about the future plans for Criterion Collections streaming, and so I'm very happy. Again, I'm not a streaming services person, so it doesn't affect me directly one way or another, but as I always say, I am very much a supporter of the streaming services, because I know, amongst other reasons, it is a way for people to watch the films as long as they pay a subscription fee. And I understand the fee is not, it still costs some money, but I understand that, relatively speaking, it is not so expensive, and you're getting so much access to films for a relatively low price. So I really support streaming, and so I'm very happy for the news. I do know also that it's not going to be an immediate transition, so there will be some time between now and spring, which I think is the planned launch for the new streaming services. But again, I don't know what specific date or month that means. So there might be some time, a bit of a gap between now and then. So in the meantime, of course, we have to rely on physical media releases. And so let's see. So what can we? And also the Barnes & Noble sale is still going on. So I would suggest, if you are so inclined, well, let me just start with this one. I just showed it very recently, but here it is again, Godzilla, 1954. This is a grim film. It's surprisingly grim. It's very serious, and so it doesn't have any of the campy nature of the later films, which I still love. But this is the one that started it all. It has a real, I would say, an environmental message, and even it has a political message, and it has a real humanitarian message at its core, at its heart. So it is a real treat. I also am a fan of the Raymond Burr Americanized version. I think it has a kind of a quirky feel to it. So and the way it's edited together, it's not the worst thing in the world I've seen, but it has a bit of an oddness to it that I find actually quite fascinating. But anyway, that is to say that this is a highly recommended release. So if you haven't gotten this, I highly suggest that you do. So Godzilla, one recommendation I could make for the Criterion Barnes & Noble sale. Another one is, I am a big fan of the Eclipse series, and I've been trying to show as many Eclipse sets as possible, but I don't think I've shown this one yet. The first films of Samuel Fuller, Eclipse series number 5. All the films here are just gold. I shot Jesse James, just brilliant, and The Baron of Arizona, and I think those two are fantastic. But then you get the Steel Helmet, which is one of those great war films. It's so brave and shocking and really thought-provoking, just filled to the brim with ideas, and it has a certain philosophy. Really just an unbelievably engaging film. And that is just to say that all the films here are fantastic. So the first films of Samuel Fuller, if you are so inclined. Again, these are DVD only, but the Eclipse series is I would recommend it. If you can, I'd recommend getting as many of the Eclipse sets as possible. These are just absolute, just gold. And then I just finished rewatching this, actually, which is The Times of Harvey Milk, a really informative and easy to follow, yet quite rich and a very heartfelt documentary about Harvey Milk. And so, and it's a very relatively short documentary, so it's not so long, and it is very easy to follow because of its structure, in terms of its interview structure, and its story is a true story, and it's very moving and inspiring and also tragic and quite it makes me very sad and makes me very angry, and it also is very inspiring and has a real deep heartfelt message at its core. The Times of Harvey Milk, if you haven't seen it, it is just a powerful documentary, and wonderfully told, well presented. Anyway, for your consideration. I'm a big fan of Criterion Collection's box sets. So this Criterion Collection has so many great box sets. And so I think if you are a fan of contemporary American cinema, you'll know the name John Cassavetes. He is a very famous actor, of course, or he's appeared in many films that are very famous. Rosemary's Baby comes to mind. The Fury. Wow, what an explosive performance he gives in that film. But he is not only a great actor, but he is also a great filmmaker and director. And so this set is called John Cassavetes' 5 Films, and this is the Blu-ray set, and it has Shadows, Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, 2 versions of The Killing of the Chinese Bookie, and Opening Night. So you are getting a real unique and true genius American cinematic voice when you get this set. And every film you see, it's very rough and quite raw, and I would say, physically, visually raw, and also very emotionally rough and raw. But that is the point. That is the point, because through that, Cassavetes is trying to trying to get rid of all the excess, and just trying to get to the point of human behavior and the human psyche, and how men and women relate to one another. This is the fundamental philosophy and purpose of Cassavetes' work, and he does this from the very get-go with shadows, and he just is relentless in the pursuit of the purest way to depict emotion in the context of human drama. And so this set is really one of the sets that you should get if you want to, if you are interested in American film. And also, I think it's the set that, if you want to, how should I put it? I think anyone who considers himself or herself a cinephile or a cineast or a film lover would really benefit from having this set and watching the films, because this is a real powerhouse from all directions. The films, I think, are quite different in terms of storytelling and narrative and contents, but that, I think, is one of the reasons why it's so fascinating. And so please, if you haven't gotten this set, and especially now because of the 50% off sale, sets like this aren't cheap, I know, but the best time to get sets like these, of course, is when you have sales. So if you are willing to pay the high price for this, and you are able to find it during the 50% off sale, this is one that I highly recommend. I should say also that you might think it is expensive. I don't know what the retail price is off the top of my head, but you are getting, as I said, Shadows, Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, 2 versions of Killing of a Chinese Bookie, so let's count that as 2, or let's just count that as 1, and then Opening Night, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hence 5 films, John Cassavetes. You are also getting a documentary about John Cassavetes' work, A Constant Forge. So this is a highly, highly recommended set, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't gotten it already. Incidentally, the ones that I gravitate to the most, all of them are great. I was going to say that Faces and Women Under the Influence are probably the ones I gravitate to the most, maybe in particular Faces. But Shadows is wonderful. Killing of a Chinese Bookie, comparing both versions. I can't wait to do that in my video series one of these days. And Opening Night, man. Okay, so I highly recommend it. Okay, so John Cassavetes. And I should say here also that I know that there is still some time left between now and the end of the Barnes & Noble sale. So if you are, hopefully you are maybe thinking about making some more Criterion purchases. If so, I would love to hear about your further purchases and acquisitions. I'm always so happy to hear those stories and read those comments and watch those videos. I love seeing those. And so that always gives me a real thrill. So if you have a moment, I'd love to hear what you've gotten. Also, if you are maybe on the fence about getting something, maybe I should get this or get that, I don't know. Just if you want, you can ask me anytime, and I'd be very happy to give you my opinion. I'm not necessarily I'm not the best person to ask sometimes when it comes to recommendations and advice with respect to the Criterion collection. I do have this collection, and I do like collecting Criterion, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'm the biggest expert in terms of Criterion collection cinema. Do you know the film The Room? Tommy Wiseau film The Room. So what does he say in The Room? What does he say? So he says, Tommy Wiseau says, so it seems to me like you're the expert, Mark. So I don't think I am an expert in the Criterion collection necessarily, but I do love the films and I do love the collection. So if you have any questions about whether or not you should buy this or you should get that, please let me know, and I will really do my best to try to give you some advice on that. If my advice is worth anything to you, I mean, if it's not worth it, that's perfectly fine too. I've been known to give some pretty poor advice about Criterion collection purchases, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask. But yeah, if you do have any questions, about that, please just let me know, and I will certainly do my best to try to answer them to the best of my abilities. So anyway, best of luck to you, and also again, it's a wonderful time because of the news regarding the Criterion Collection's future in streaming. So this is a real great time to be a Criterion Collection fan. So with that in mind, I'm always very happy to try to just discuss with you and to talk with you about the Criterion Collection. So if you have any questions or want to have a discussion, please let me know, and I will certainly do my best to oblige. All right, my friends, let me just leave it there, and I will talk to you again very soon. Until we meet again, I hope you continue to have a really great rest of your day wherever you are. Please be happy and healthy, and please take good care of yourselves. I know it's November and it's almost December, and after December it will be 2019. My goodness. Where has the time gone? Time flies, really. It just flies so quickly, and it's just like that, and then it's gone. So, carpe diem, right? Anyway, my friends, please take good care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. So, yes, carpe diem. Seize the day. Cheers.